Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Happy March Madness week. We got a fun show on the agenda today. Got some awesome guests joining us during this first segment. We've got Mike Levy from Floaty, along with the Tandy Man. Then we're going to have Justin and Justin on talking some March Madness. Coop and I are going to close out the show. Going to be here for the next 2.5, 3 hours. Lots of fun stuff planned. We're going to hit the intro. Then we're going to welcome our guests. Let's do it. Yes. JM, everybody in the chat. We got Top Shot Blaze, Sergeant Stogie, Dan, Chris, Coop, Tandy, and MBL repping with the JMs in the chat. Ticro Ventra, JM to you, my friend. Mark, Cartpig, Solomon. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. Fun show planned. Tons of stuff going on in the world of hoops lately. We've got March Madness week, always one of the most exciting sporting events of the year. We've got tons going on in the Top Shot streets, including specifically lots going on with our friends over at Floaty, which is the perfect segue to our first two guests here. First off, we've got Mr. Floaty himself, one of the true Top Shot OGs. Recently made a massive LeBron sale or a purchase for, I believe, $30,000 of the block moment. Can't wait to hear more about all of that. We got Mike Levy, MBL. Mike, there we go. What's going on?
What's going on? Appreciate the awesome intro. And honestly, what I'm going to kick it off with is, how are you? How is sleep? How is fatherhood? What's going on with you?
I'm good.
We'll get to me, but you got bigger things going on.
Yes. I got lots of stuff going on. I'm actually 3 weeks old. My son turned today, so
you look great.
flying by. Yeah, I'm doing well with it. One of the things that I've been saying is it's certainly true that you don't get a lot of sleep as a dad, but I didn't really sleep all that much beforehand. So for me, I was prepared for it, preparing my whole life for it, that lack of sleep. But no, things are
You've got two
going
babies
great
now. You've got OTM and a human one.
Yes, exactly. So maybe we'll talk a little dad stuff, because we're gonna have three fairly recent dads here, because the other one joining us here, also rocking a Floaty hat here, the newest not sponsor, sponsee, I don't know. He's got an awesome YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking him out. Tandy, what's going on?
Hello, TJ. Thank you for having me. And I will echo what Mike says. You look amazing for someone who has a 3-week-old baby. I mean, when my most recent child was 3 weeks, I don't think I looked as good as you. I definitely was not as coherent. I think I lost about half my vocabulary. So you're looking good. You're sounding good. And it's good to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, I took a bit of a contrarian approach to this whole thing, because I'm doing this new podcast about being a dad too. I've been posting on Instagram, which is not something I did before. So, I decided to add even more responsibility to my plate while having a kid. Very bold strategy, Cotton, as they would say.
Yeah, see how that plays out.
But cool. Yeah, we got people in chat here. Thanks for joining us. We'll start off by hitting the like on the screen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you are watching over on Twitter, you can also come on over and join the YouTube. We're going to have giveaways throughout the show today, and it should be a fun one. So let's kind of jump right in here. We've got Mike and Tandy, two of the Top Shot OGs that are still most certainly dabbling in the Top Shot streets these days. Mike, I'm going to start with you, because I got kind of two things for you. One on the personal you side, another on more of the Floaty side. But let's start with that big LeBron purchase. I know you wrote a little thread about it, and I actually touched on that on I've been doing these Top Shot solo streams. So I touched on that on one of them. But yeah, let the people know what you were thinking with the $30K purchase, and congratulations. I must say, I feel like the block moment, like in terms of plays that I remember, even for LeBron, like that one just sticks out in my mind. So in terms of the actual moment and video footage, great choice. Truly a grail.
Thank you very much. Yeah, for me, it came down to the following. I would say LeBron is far and away my favorite basketball player ever. I know it's a little unusual as a Knicks fan. I just feel like he came into the league with all the hype in the world, exceeded the hype, has always been low key, family man, giving back to the community, went back to Cleveland. Had some, I mean, the knocks on him over the years are the decision, which he did to raise money for charity, realistically, and the fact that he had some trouble during like 12 possessions when JJ Barea was guarding him in the 2011 finals. That's like kind of the beginning and the end of the knocks on LeBron. And so to me, he's my favorite player ever. I feel like from a collection standpoint, he's as much of a sure thing as they come. His legacy is set, and he's only adding to it right now by continuing to put up these kinds of numbers this year. And you know, when you look back at his career, as you say, this is his singular highlight. I can't imagine it's going to be topped realistically. For him to do that in that situation against that team is what stands out. You know, everyone remembers it, and the way that the Dapper team distributed the moment, that there's only 23 of them in total, makes for a really cool effect where the jersey number serial and the last mint serial are the same NFT. And so you put all that together, and I think if you set value aside, this is probably my number one grail NFT from any collection of any sort of NFT anywhere ever. And you know, I've been in Top Shot for a long time. Have sizable collection ready. Don't really intend on putting a lot of new capital in, just because I'm already very invested. Have the company as well in this space, but I felt like I really wanted to own this moment as a collector.
Own the moment.
Yeah, there you go. Own the moment. Plug it. And so was really excited about it. Also felt like, around the ecosystem, there's been a lot of bigger purchases recently, which made me feel a bit better about making a bit of a splashy purchase. And yeah, I figured if I'm going to be spending this much time and energy in the space, it'd be awesome to own the number one NFT in my mind. And so I'm really excited about it. And a few weeks later, I still feel good about it, which is fortunate, because sometimes you go and do something like this, and while the adrenaline's running, while you're excited about things, and then 2 weeks later, you wake up, you're like, whoa, what was that? That was a terrible idea. I feel bad. I've got a lump in my throat, and I'm going to pretend this never happened. But for me, I'm still excited about it. And I look back, and I made it my one pinned moment on my collection. I don't have three. I have one pinned moment.
I saw that. I like that move. I think that's a true alpha move right there, to just be like, especially when you have as big a collection as you do, right? It's like everyone knows you have the big collection, so to just pin one is even more awesome there.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. And what did you guys think about it?
I was impressed, of course. I mean, like you said, we saw all these big purchases coming in, and obviously that's what you said made you feel a little more excited to make the bot fire. But I'm honestly curious about what makes the feeling amongst the community, amongst the whales, what makes them want to drop cash, this week compared to past weeks or something like that. I don't have the answer, but I wonder if you guys have an opinion on that, because TJ, you alluded to that, I think, about how the bots are firing more lately. Do you have any opinions as to why?
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some level of like once one happens, there's a bit of a snowball, right? Like, if I am personally no Top Shot whale, but if you are sitting there and maybe there's these moments that you do have your eye on, and then you see one or two other big sales happen, like, say what you want about the overall supply of Top Shot, there's only like very, very limited of these actual grails if you're looking at the legendary jersey matches and number ones, right?
Yeah.
So it could be like I've been looking at this thing for a year, haven't felt right about it, but this digitally rare guy is buying up all this stuff all of a sudden. So like, if I don't get it now, he might buy it and then I never have a chance to get it. So there
Right.
could. Do you guys know who Digitally Rare is, by the way? I
So-
mean, I know I've seen his Twitter account, but
Funny
I don't-
enough, I DM'd him right when he started making a splash. And I was like,
Mm.
will you come on my show and,
Yeah, that'd
and
be a great
talk
guest.
about it? He's like, no.
No.
he's like, I am not revealing who my real identity. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I talked to him a little bit more in the DMs, and he had this whole he's a crypto guy, and he had this vision of like how it's going to go down. He's like, the halving on Bitcoin is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and like people are going to come rushing back into NFTs. And I'm like, all right, man, I hope you're right. Like, it's a very kind of bullish, optimistic view of things. And so obviously he doesn't feel any doubt about dropping some serious cash right now on a lot of these collectibles.
Yeah, and I think TJ, I think you hit it well. First, I chat with Digitally Rare sometimes. Good fella for sure. Don't know his real identity. Would
Was he
also
one
say
of
that
the OGs like back in the early Discord days, or you don't know?
Oh no,
I didn't know. Like I gotta know.
Yeah,
back when there was 50
from what
of you
I
guys.
know, new, at least new to dropping real cash
Yeah.
on the platform. And I think you're absolutely right in terms of kind of what drives whale action. To Tandy's question, a lot of it is as much supply as there is in the overall Top Shot ecosystem. There is pretty limited supply of the Grail type assets. Each Cosmic has 49. 49 is a really small number, of course. I think there's something like 1,350 LeBron debuts out there, which is a small number. Of course, the block only has 23. And what's interesting is, as we talk about this, a lot of people, part of the role I play in the ecosystem is people come to me and they say, I want a LeBron Hollow, I want a LeBron Cosmic. Like, can you find me the best deal you can on one of those? And I've started to run up against this scenario where there just are no sellers on some moments. Like the block moment right now, I don't think anyone can get for cheaper than like the current listing, which is $27,000, even though one of them sold for $9,500 a couple, 6 weeks ago or so. And there's just simply no sellers left. There's 23 of them in total. And it's not that many. And, there's a few people with multiple of them. And so there's just kind of nothing left. And so, to TJ's point there, at some point the supply runs out and you start to feel a little bit of, I want to own this as a collector and my time is running out. And if I don't make a move quickly, I might miss it. And no, that doesn't apply to, 60,000 common, but it does apply to, the number one Victor Wembanyama rookie debut, or some of the other number ones that have been going recently. There's a collector, FLPX, I think is his username, who's been picking up lots and lots of number ones in jersey serials, which I think a lot of things are moving towards those kinds of grails, and it's not unlike physical card world, and it's something that LG and I talked about in I think early 2021. We know there's going to be a lot more supply coming overall, so try and identify things that won't be crushed by new supply if you're here to collect.
Tandy has a little alpha here that he has permission to share. So let's see what you got.
Right. So I just alluded to it and I looked it up. This was from my conversation with Digitally Rare. So I just wanted to show you what he wrote because I kind of forgot. Because I said, what's your take on Top Shot? Like, why are you buying? What did you think when things were going down? He said when things were going down, he was more bullish than ever. He knew the dip was temporary, at least for grails and high-end moments, and markets will pick back up in 4 to 6 months after the halving, as they usually do. So I don't know if you guys want to mark that down in your calendars, but this is the vision of one Digitally Rare.
Okay, I like it.
Yep.
Love the conviction there. It's yeah, because he started during the NFL, because it started with some big NFL all day purchases, right? At least that was the first time I had really seen Digitally Rare coming onto the scene. I also think it's I think there's some element to once there is someone like a Digitally Rare that arrives on the scene and is picking up these high-end moments, that for the more average collector now, there's almost even more of this like, well, shit, I want to get one of these packs and pull the number one Wemby, because now there's people like, even if you only need one person out, like if you are someone that wants to flip, of course I'm talking about here, but like all you need is one person out there that will pay you 30 grand, 50 grand for that. So I think that makes kind of the pack opening even a little more fun too, where it's like, all right, we know that there's at least one guy out there that has a chance to buy at a high price. So
Yeah, I think
like
that's
to dwell on the
it's a
past.
really good point, and one that a lot of people don't consider enough. In my view, there's like a lot of hate for whales for
Right.
I don't know the fact they get to we get to reserve more packs. That it seems like Top Shot favors them. I don't really know how much of that there actually is, but it's a really important role in the ecosystem. Big pulls are only as exciting as someone out there is willing to pay for, and so it's important to see people willing to make moves. And what's interesting about digitally rare in a good way is I remember when Dingling came around and was spending a lot of money on a lot of things. A lot of them were kind of strange buys where it's like the number one of Ish Smith's 50K, 60K base moment, paying a lot of money for that, and didn't really necessarily signal the right thing. Like, I'm a real collector, I'm here to buy. This is kind of like legitimizing this platform. Whereas digitally rare has finer taste, I would say, buying exclusive all day moments, the biggest and best Top Shot moments. The number one hollow LeBron, arguably the best moment on the platform. Yeah. So anyway, I do think that's a good point, and I get it. I get kind of all sides of the discussion, but I do think whales are a necessary part of the ecosystem.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Without whales, your hits aren't getting purchased, so you need them.
How do you change your what's under your username there? Not a whale. How do you do that?
Not
You tap the little
Andy, not a
the
whale.
3 vertical circles, and then you can do edit name and headline.
I don't know where that is. We'll have to talk offline. Oh, I see it.
Oh yeah, down below.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at that.
Learning
Oh,
something
the headline.
every day.
I've never used the headline before. Okay.
It's a new feature. It's only been there for like a couple months.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Bleezy brings up a good point, though, that the best platform could arguably be Tatum's dunk on LeBron when he was he a rookie? I think he was a rookie when he yammed it on LeBron, which was really great. I just want to make sure we emphasize that.
So that's an interesting question. Like, what makes the best moment of the platform? Is it the best basketball play, the most collectible thing? Does the player matter? Like, if it's some random player who played 6 games and then retired but had an incredible highlight, do we like that moment?
But I think that's the beauty of collectibles.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. From a pure play standpoint, I don't know. Like, is the Vince Carter All-Star Game dunk like the best just like play? I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. It's not a best in-game play by any means, but it's one of the most recognizable plays.
Well, I think that, like, I know we've talked about this also in the past, is like the vision of what Top Shot could and should be in my mind is a beautiful catalog of like NBA history. And, and then you can purchase these moments and own them in your little digital wallet, and every season and every player, and you can sort of get almost like an encyclopedia of the NBA, depending on how you want to filter it. That's how I see what Top Shot could become, almost something beyond what YouTube is. Like, YouTube has everything. Some people like to say that the experience on YouTube is in some ways better because you get more, you get all the audio, and you can find exact moments and things like that. But I think that Top Shot could become almost like a more curated version of that. And just to add on that, you can have these in your little collection and like organize them. And one day, like MBL, who wants his digital virtual cigar room with his moments in there, like that's where I see that the way that this should go, the way that would make a lot of sense to me. So kind of off topic a little bit, but you were talking about what makes the best moments. And the point is, everyone has their own subjective opinion of what makes the best moment. I would agree that the block is one of the most legendary moments in NBA history. Definitely. Just watching LeBron hit the playoffs and or never being able to do it for the Cavs, then being able to pull it off against this great Warriors team, this behemoth. That's one of the greatest plays, definitely, of our recent history. But for someone like Bleezy or myself, we remember that Tatum dunk on LeBron very vividly, and it means a lot to us. So everyone's going to have their own moment. People, those same Cavs fans might want to go pick up the Max Strus that's on the marketplace today. So everyone can collect what they need to collect and enjoy how they want to enjoy.
Well said. Well said. That went from like the collect what you love meme of 2021 to like, no, that's actually like kind of what this is now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and then I'd say another thing I wanted to touch on with both of you too is kind of as the ecosystem around Top Shot has evolved, Floaty has really taken off, I would say, specifically in the past like month or so. Mike, seems like you were publishing some data that would support that as well. So I would love to just hear a little bit more of the journey of Floaty. And I mean, it's kind of the definition of building through the bear market, right? And now that we're seeing this next wave of Top Shot, whether it's the big purchases, and like I also love that Floaty seems like it's hitting all ends of the spectrum where these high ticket items, those sales are taking place on Floaty, and then also you have the ability to trade ticket type of moments, right? Going for even less than $1 sometimes, which is a big benefit there. So, okay, yeah, let me pull up your little tweet here, post, whatever we call it these days. I change my mind every day if I want to call it X or Twitter. Right? Yeah. So here, look at this. That's a nice little chart there, Mike. Let's talk through it.
Yeah. So first, I'll have to annotate one of these charts at some point, but there's a chart somewhere before this big pop that says began sponsorship with Tandy, and correlation,
true
causation.
Secret.
I don't know, but good stuff with Tandy. And I mean, Tandy rocking a hat is a big investment in Floaty, so we like to see that. But yeah, so I think, if just to look at the chart itself. So basically what this is showing is the number of individual sales we've had by week, stretching back to mid-November all the way through last week. And it's been pretty cool. We're hovering around 1,000 sales per week towards the end of November, and now we're up around 13,000. And I think it's been a combination of a lot of different things. One, a lot of the bigger sales these days happen on Floaty. Across 2023, the 5 largest sales across the entire Flow blockchain of NFTs were all on Floaty. And so I think that helps legitimize the platform. We're in an ecosystem here where realistically a lot of people kind of came into Top Shot, they put in an email address, and they're used to Dapper Wallet and they're used to a Dapper ecosystem. And a lot of them, read about these scams on Ethereum, these other platforms. And so people are generally nervous to use anything that isn't Dapper. And it doesn't matter if it's Floaty, some other platform, whatever else it is, they don't like to leave that ecosystem for the most part. And so a big part of what we've tried to accomplish as a platform is how do we kind of break through that and establish a level of trust that gets people to be comfortable trying Floaty, comfortable buying and selling things on Floaty, that they'll get paid, that it'll work the same way it does on Top Shot. And so we've taken some pretty significant steps over the last few months to try and accomplish that. One of them is to really just publish and put more attention on the bigger sales that happen on the platform. If the people spending, $10, $20, $30, $60,000 on moments trust Floaty, hopefully that'll be a good reason for other people to give it a shot. Working with people like Tandy, working with people like you guys, the OTM team, has also been important. We've also really, really simplified the site. It used to be, we have 3 features. We have sales, we have loans, we have rentals. And we used to really try and kind of give them each a lot of love. And, we look at the numbers, we look at user feedback. A majority of people, a huge majority, are using the buy-sell aspect of the platform rather than the loans and rentals. And while those other 2 are being used, again, most people are on buy-sell. And so we tweak the platform in a few different ways to make things much more geared towards a buyer or seller. And you can discover the other features, but we're really presented to you as a marketplace today. And I think that helped. We also added in bulk listing as a feature, and that was towards the end of 2023. And where that's important is it's really a pain in the butt if you guys have tried to do it, to list any significant number of moments on Top Shot's marketplace. One, it just takes a long time. 2, it's done in a way where you have to kind of research each individual moment, and it's not that easy to figure out what things should cost or what things should be priced at. And we have Own the Moments, beautiful moment valuation tool integrated into Floaty. And so when you're doing bulk listing, you can get some
recently
nice
updated. Recently updated.
Recently updated. Oh yes. Actually, we had a legacy issue that had nothing to do with you guys, but we were pulling from something that we shouldn't have been pulling from. So your update torpedoed our FMVs for a second, which then Tandy realized actually and told us. But we're all good now.
Nice.
And so I think people really like having that guidance of here's an estimate of the FMV, and like always do your own research, but this is a nice data point for people. So we have bulk listing. We also have bulk editing. And so if you have 200 listings on Floaty, you can use the bulk feature to edit up to 75 of them in one transaction. And doing that on Top Shot requires delisting and then waiting for the process and relisting 200 times. I don't know, I'd probably rather do a lot of things that would be painful or expensive or whatever else, time consuming, rather than do that. And so I think that's been a really nice feature. Also, we have, we allow listings underneath or below $1. And so realistically, the place to buy and sell trade tickets is on Floaty these days. The true floor of Top Shot right now is 25 to 30 cents, something in that range. And so if you're buying trade tickets, it's not really sensible to pay $1 per trade ticket on Top Shot. You should absolutely go to Floaty, sort by price, and get the cheapest one. And it's a quick, easy transaction, ends up right in your Top Shot wallet. So I think those have all been good factors. And yeah, I also think we're benefiting from overall Top Shot's climb at the depths of things. Top Shot was doing, $300,000 to $400,000 of volume per week, and now that's up to closer to 800,000 to 900,000. And we're historically have been around 8 to 10% of Top Shot's volume. We've worked hard to get that number higher, and now we're in the 20%, 25% last week range. And so as the overall pie grows and our market share grows, that leads to a nice increase in activity like this. And so it's been really exciting. It's been really cool. We've worked very, very hard on this, and we get a lot of support from the community. There are a lot of people who go out of their way to try and make things happen on Floaty, and we very much appreciate that. I think people recognize the more support we get, the more interesting features we can come out with, and we can do stuff that realistically the Dapper team can't do. Like, putting FMVs right on the site, like doing kind of different transaction types, doing loans, doing rentals. And so, the more support we get, the more we can build out and expand the universe of what people can do with their Top Shot moments.
Yeah. And I would just add in there, as someone who wasn't working with Floaty in the past, is that in the past year or so, or however long it's been, the advancements that the website has made in terms of usability is just 0 to 100. And I think that's a big reason. And I think that Floaty is also benefiting, like Mike said, sort of from both extremes. It's really benefiting from the trade ticket ecosystem or economy of NBA Top Shot, but it's also really benefiting from these larger splashes where sellers would prefer to save 3% on a 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Someone sells a Wemby legendary for $10,000, they can go pick up a Wemby rookie with the money they just saved in fees. So it just makes a lot of sense wherever you're buying. And of course, if you've ever been like me and you've ever tried to sell a bunch of $1 moments, how what a hassle that is, or buy a bunch of them too. It's such a hassle, and Floaty just makes that way easier.
Love it. You can also, of course, get yourself a Jolly Joker over on Floaty. Nice little combo there between us. Why am I?
That's the best combo. I like Joker sales more than any other sales. When I see a nice gold Joker trading and setting off the bot, I love that. Someone's discovering the right ecosystem. Someone's adding to a stack. Glib Penguin is adding a 108th. Love that.
He's got 100 Jokers. Glib Penguin.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Absolute legend.
I love that. B Bleezy, love to hear that you use Dimension X. We've got some fun things coming out with the Dimension X team soon, which is exciting. And on the bulk listing side, Tandy, you did a little walkthrough of bulk listing, right? All right. Yep. So yeah, we'll get you that info. But it's pretty easy, to be honest. Go to your profile, click bulk select, and give it a shot. And let me know, or let our teammates know if you have any questions.
Yeah, check that out, floaty.io. Also check out Tandy's YouTube channel, Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Always has some fun, interesting.
TJ, chill us on Jokers
topics.
a little. What do you get with Jokers?
Yeah. Let's show the Jokers here. So Jolly Jokers, if you own one of them, gets you access to the full suite of the Own the Moment analytics tools for Top Shot and for NFL All Day. And we've been adding some new stuff lately. A lot of what we've been adding too has been around the packs. So I've been saying, for me, I think when I think about this kind of season of Top Shot, the two big things for me has been Fast Break, of course, I think is a big addition for this year. But then I also think that the pack marketplace really revived things and, frankly, made flipping possible again. And there's all kinds of schools of thought on flipping, but I don't know. I think in this kind of ecosystem, flipping is part of it. And there's always going to be a segment. You don't want the whole group of people to be flipping, but like people have been buying packs on the marketplace and selling them for more, which I think drives more interest, more engagement, and overall is a good thing there. So we have the pack sniper, which as packs get listed in real time, they'll pop up here. You can use the filters to filter by any specific pack that you're looking for. So if you want like one of the freshman gems packs, you can filter by that, see them exactly as they come up. We then also have our little pack marketplace where it shows all of the packs that are out there. You can click into any of them. You can easily see all of the packs that are listed, the user that listed them, when they got listed, all the recent transactions to see what those packs have been selling at. So definitely huge improvements to the site with all of this new pack data. And then just the pack feed in general, you can see packs getting opened in real time.
Oh, that's cool.
So you'll see that basically every second of the day, somebody's opening a Top Shot pack. So it certainly highlights people are out there on the platform. And then you can also see, the contents of the pack and then the low ask that we have for each of them. So yeah, lots of improvements that we made there on the pack side of things. And then in our most recent update, Mike was talking about the fair market value or OTM true value. We made some updates there. Previously, the values that we had was pretty much 100% based off of low ask. So low ask drove what the value was. We found that was not the most accurate way, right? Sometimes you have these, like, especially for the higher end moments, arguably low ask is the price that we know nobody's going to pay, right? If the low ask is $20,000 and nobody's bought it for 6 months, it does not mean that moment is worth $20,000, or else somebody would have bought it for that. So we've switched to using more average sale price as the leading indicator with some low ask factoring in there too. So you may have seen that it lowered your account value as a result, but it's more accurate. And I think it's objectively more accurate, honestly, to look at the recent sales. So yeah, with the Jolly Joker, you get access to all of this. You can also subscribe in the more traditional sense too, and then you just get like your collection true value. Wow, we're going up here, boys. We're going up here. Love to see it. Yeah, we've got Flash Challenge, Terminal Sniper, all kinds of stuff. Neil highlighted all of the changes that were made here, so you can see there's lots of them. There's even a little floaty teaser at the bottom there as a part of this. We also
breadcrumb.
We did a lot of back end cleanup. I mean, we started building this website over 3 years ago. So there were some things out there for a while that we were like, okay, this is maybe not the most optimal way to have this, but there was always something new to build. So we took some time to kind of reset things so that we can more nimbly make changes, add new features, etc. going forward. So as good a time as any to get on in to the Jolly Joker community. And then we also have additional things for Jolly Joker holders. We've got gated contests, things of that nature. We have our new March Madness game that we're gonna touch on that at the end of this conversation. Open up a starter pack. give you guys the walkthrough and the pitch of the Madness game. And then we've got Justin and Justin joining after 2 to talk more in depth on March Madness. But there you have it. If you are a serious Top Shot or all day collector, definitely think that Jolly Joker is very worthwhile to hold. And yeah, I mean, I'm not too up to date on the like PFP realm of flow these days, but I gotta imagine that the Jolly Jokers is the most active profile picture that exists on Flow.
Oh,
At least that I've seen.
absolutely. And what I'm going to say, I find it very, very frustrating when people go out there and say that you guys have gated some of your features. I think the site you guys put together is like incredibly good. I spend all day on the site looking who owns different moments, the pack sniper, using the fair market valuation, all this kind of stuff. It's such a valuable service, and you can kind of tell when people are saying, "Oh, like I use it so often, it's so sad they're charging for it now." It's like you're kind of answering your own question. Like it's used so often because it's a valuable tool. It doesn't exist elsewhere. It's like an amazing platform, and the cost to buy a Jolly Joker is $83 on Floaty right now, which is a pretty damn reasonable thing. And the price has held up very well. It, in fact, trended up from lows. At one point, I think it was around the 30-40 level. And you know, you guys started adding much more utility to it. And since then, it's been in this 80 range for a long time, which means, like, you know, if you want to check something out, just give it a shot. Buy one for $83, and there's going to be pretty good demand for, I'd imagine, for someone else to buy it from you, should you decide against it. But at the end of the day, there's 5,000 Jolly Jokers out there. As this ecosystem continues to grow, that's going to be harder and harder to get your hands on one. And so if you value the tools and services, do it up.
We're now up to 2,032 unique holders too, which is
that's crazy.
Pretty legit.
Yeah, so, that's awesome.
Almost half of all Jolly Jokers are in unique holders' hands, and then you know you got people like Glib that I don't know that any of the hundreds in his wallet are going anywhere anytime. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been like a year and a half now, I guess, since the mint began. Probably like a year since we minted out. I don't even remember. The months and years blend in at this point. But yeah, check out the Jolly Jokers, and we'd love to have you join. I like this one from B Bleezy here. I will say, when I'm accepting offers on moments I don't want, if someone has a JJ as their PFP on Top Shot, I accept their offer over non-JJ PFP. I love that, because it's, you know, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I don't know who this person is, but we're in the same community, so
yeah, I was going to say hashtag community.
Handing it over to them. Yeah. So there's the JJ pitch. Get yourself a Jolly Joker on Floaty. OTM times Floaty times Tandy.
There we go.
Absolutely.
There we go. And well, your show, but I'm curious if we're ready to talk about the new March Madness game you guys launched.
I'm ready. Let's do it. So let me go ahead. All right, I'll share my screen and kind of talk through here. So we have our new March Madness game. Actually, let me pull up one of these. It's probably better. There's a lot of words on this, but that's fine. We'll share that and talk through it. All right, so our newest game here at OTM, TOC Madness. It's our new twist on a fantasy basketball game during March Madness this year. For anyone that's familiar, we have so TOC stands for the Owners Club. It was our fantasy football game that we've run for 2 years now. In the TOC game, you collect cards. The cards represent a football team and a position. You score fantasy points in accordance with that. We are taking that very similar philosophy, applying it here to the March Madness tournament with a slight twist. So how it works in this game is that each of the cards represents a team in the tournament, and then a stat category: points, rebounds, assists, and defense, which is blocks plus steals. So how it works is that you create a 5-card lineup, one from each position, and then our hero, which can be any of the stat categories and gets a 1.25x scoring multiplier. And then you score fantasy points based on that team and that stat category. 1 point for each point scored, 2 points for each rebound, 5 for each assist, and then 7 for each block or steal. And then, yeah, so you play the Duke assist card. Every time Duke gets an assist, you score 5 fantasy points. You add up the points across your 5 cards that you've played. Winner wins the money. And found that this was a good format for March Madness specifically because, I mean, I think a lot of people don't really know a ton about college basketball, right? So thinking about this from a watching the games perspective, if I've got Kentucky rebounds, okay, I can watch the game and I can see, oh, Kentucky just got a rebound. Great. I scored points. Whereas if we tried to do, Kentucky power forward and you're watching the game, you're like, well, I don't know if this dude's a power forward, a center, a small forward. So that was kind of part of the reason there. And it's designed in a way that is meant to be easy for anybody who is not super in the weeds on March Madness to play. And everybody can get started by claiming your completely free starter pack. Every pack contains 4 cards in it, 1 guaranteed from each of the stat categories. So you can open up your starter pack and then you just need 1 more card beyond that to create your first lineup. And then we are having 3 contests throughout the tournament. So the first contest is starting this Thursday. It'll then be for the first 2 rounds. Then there's going to be a second contest for rounds 3 and 4, and then a final contest for the final 4, plus the championship game. So that way also, in addition to your bracket pools, you're not going to be dead after the first weekend, right? A lot of times you can create your bracket. You think Purdue's going to go deep, and then they lose to the 16 seed in the first round. You're like, well, I just lost immediately there. So yeah, let's go ahead, open up a first pack, see what that experience looks like, and then can answer any questions that you guys may have. So I'm going to open up the, oh, actually, never mind. I can't give anything away from this for my starter cards. We'll do a giveaway. Don't worry. Wait out there for the giveaway. If you're watching on Twitter and you want to be a part of the giveaway channel, own the moment on YouTube.
What an unreal pack opening experience, by the way.
Oh yeah. So that's, I don't know. You guys probably can't actually hear.
Now, what do you got behind the
I'm gonna mute this in a second, but we got a little bumping music here.
No need for the snoozing.
All right, so yeah, you get your 4 cards. Click on them. That's not great. Stetson, number 16 seed in the East. Not ideal. All right, North Carolina, a rebound. That's a nice one there. Baylor assist. Florida Atlantic defense.
This is a very even distribution overall, and
it really is.
If you guys want to get weird, you could do kind of the reverse sort of thing where you want the worst score for each category, and then Stetson suddenly looks nice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we actually in the football game we had a low ball contest where the objective was actually to score the least amount of points possible. Yes. We don't have that format in this game, but it's always fun. So yeah, you open up your pack, and then once you have your collection of cards, you head on over to the lobby. Can go on here, and then you can create as many lineups as you want. So you can pick we're not going to pick our Stetson, but we go fill in 1 of each position, and then let me actually okay, and then we'll make Stetson our hero so that we guarantee that I don't win the contest. How about that? And then
I wouldn't say that.
Play lineup here, save your lineup. No cost to entry after you own the cards, and then boom. Now entered the tournament. This first contest, again, takes place over this first weekend, rounds 1 and 2. And then how it works beyond that is at any time you can exchange 5 of your cards to then get a new pack at a discounted price. So if you do open a pack and you get a bunch of Stetson types that you don't really think are going to do well in your lineup, you can select any 5 from your collection, pay your 99 gold, which is $10, and then get yourself a brand new pack to replace those cards. You can do that now, but then that's going to become even more relevant after this first weekend when a bunch of the teams get eliminated. Those cards that you have are not completely dead. You have the option to trade them in and get a new pack. And then after the first weekend, next week's packs will only have the teams that remain in the Sweet 16, and then the following weekend will be only teams that are in the Final Four. So that's the format here. And
That's a super
we're
cool
excited to try it
design,
out.
and you can trade peer to peer if you want. I see Brewdog looking to just swing a few deals.
Yeah, so you can create a new trade here. So if I go to Neil, I can go ahead, offer Neil a little trade, send him a
And what,
trade offer.
they get an email?
How
do they know when there's a trade?
So usually our trades, people discuss offline and then send it over. An email comes when the trade goes through to like confirm the transaction, but we do not get a offers notification. So usually people discuss it offline, check out each other's collections. So you can go into any collection here as well, look at the cards, and yeah, you can search for any user, find out what they've got going on. Sergeant Stogie's always got lots of stuff happening. So yeah, he's got here. We also have Joker cards, which is essentially a wild card. So if you have a Joker rebound, when you go to enter in the contest, you select whatever team you want to use. So you get that flexibility. If you are able to pull the Joker cards, definitely the most valuable ones. And then we have the marketplace where you can list, buy, sell moments. All of this is off-chain stuff, by the way. But would be cool to bring this back on chain one day.
It would be, but like some stuff doesn't need to be on chain. Yeah,
exactly.
You guys are doing everything you need to right here.
So yeah, there's the game. Anybody out there that is not already can claim your free starter pack to get going. And then also we are doing, for anyone that buys at least one pack, you not only get that pack to then enter the contest, but we have a bracket challenge on ESPN that we are running, just a normal bracket. But the only way you get into the bracket is if you buy at least one pack. So everybody that buys a pack gets access to the bracket challenge. I've got that pulled up here. Let's see how many people we got so far. So 32 people have entered the bracket challenge so far. If you've purchased the pack, check out your email. You should have an invite to this. But yeah,
I'm claiming my free starter pack right now.
Oh, all right. All right.
Opening. This is sweet. So while this is opening, I mean, one of the things that I really liked about
you want to share as you open it, Mike?
No, it's kind of too late. Well, I could show my reveal.
Yeah, show your reveal. Why not?
All right. Give me a moment.
Got right to it.
Got the music on right now.
Let's see if there's anything in chat.
All right, here we go.
Where is he?
No need for the snoozing. Big whip outside, I'm cruising. Big
Okay.
Here we go.
Let's go Purdue. Oakland. We like Oakland. Who's Oakland playing in the first round?
Let's see. I do not know off the top of my head.
Decent pack. Middle of the road.
Middle of the road.
Sweet. I'm going to
the good thing is for the first round is you get a max of 2 games. So you just need them to kind of win their first game. And then they at least play 2 games. That's kind of the key there is getting the 2 games out of it.
Damn, I lost my pick yesterday. I was 5-0 for a while. I'm in a rut.
I'm so bad at our streak game. I think I'm less than 500 in my overall record is 45-47. Not very good, TJ.
I got a pack too if you want to sweat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's do it.
My feature request is to be able to search for TJ in here to see the miserable record.
All right, Tandy's back.
Let's do it.
We call that pack the toaster internally because it kind of looks like a toaster with the cards coming up on the top.
It's a very nice animation.
Thank you.
Texas A&M points. NC State rebounds. Florida Atlantic assists. And UConn defense.
Ooh.
So that UConn's pretty nice, but these
Oh,
are a
yeah.
little weak.
And the UConn defense, from what, so we tried to design the scoring so that they're like reasonably equal across the stat categories, but the defense card definitely has the highest upside, especially for a number 1 seed playing a number 16. I mean, they could just get endless steals and blocks playing against a inferior team. So we've seen that the defense cards, they're the least predictable and the most volatile, but if you hit on the right defense, you can definitely score a lot of fantasy points.
So I think I missed it, TJ, but when you have these cards, you can then, you said you can trade them to others. Are these also buyable and sellable?
So the starter cards cannot be bought and sold. The starter cards are tied to your account. The additional cards that get purchased, you can buy and sell in the marketplace. You can use the starter cards in the exchange process. So, if you went out and bought another pack and you didn't want the NC State rebound card, you could exchange that in along with 4 others to get a new pack.
I see.
The starter packs are mainly intended to just give people a feel for what the pack opening experience like, and then our hope is that people are like, okay, I like this enough to buy my first pack, get my entry into the bracket pool, and at least create one lineup. Or you can go to the marketplace, pick up a cheap card to fill out a lineup. But you do need at least one more card, which was also intentional. We didn't want to just flood the contest with a bunch of people that are just playing their starter cards. So yeah, you do have to make at least one purchase at some point to actually enter a lineup into the contest. And then we've also, for people that are buying multiple packs, we have a buy 4, get 1 free special. So for every 4 packs you purchase, you get a 5th one for free for people that are looking to enter multiple lineups. So that's kind of the structure we got. So yeah, I've been saying it's kind of a 3-step process of number 1, claim your free starter pack. Number 2, make that first pack purchase and get yourself into the bracket challenge pool on top of that. And then if you're somebody that's looking to buy multiple packs, buy 4, get another one for free. And then you have at least 4 lineups that you can enter at that point.
Cool.
This is great. I'm a big fan of the TOC structure. As a new father, which we haven't talked about too much, I don't have time to figure this stuff out. Give me a few cards that cover teams, that cover a stat category. I really liked for football the team-based thing. So if your quarterback gets hurt or something, you don't have to deal with that. You still get the team stats. That's a really nice feature.
Yeah. I think it really simplifies the game in a lot of ways. I mean, fantasy sports is, I think, as we all know, has become quite the complex puzzle, which I think is awesome. But there are plenty of places where if you want to play high stakes and play super complex puzzles, there are sites where you can do that. This is for more of the casual fantasy fan, especially in something like March Madness. I mean, I personally couldn't name, I don't think I can name any college basketball players really, but I know that,
Caitlin Clark.
Kentucky is good. Yes, exactly. I was actually watching, speaking of dad life, I was watching, my parents were over, I guess it was 2 weekends ago now, or maybe 1 weekend ago. And yeah, sitting on the couch with my dad and my son watching women's college basketball. That was my life 2 Sundays ago. So didn't really have that on my bingo card, but there we go.
Pretty awesome. And who are you guys picking as your champions? Can we reveal that, or is that a big secret?
No, I think it's a great, yeah. What, you guys have any teams that you like? Are you doing brackets over there? What's your guys' March Madness involvement? This is a great segue too to the next segment where we're gonna have Justin PERRI on, who is formerly of Moment Ranks, but is now essentially a full-time college basketball guru. And it's actually sounds like both him and Justin Herzig, both Justins, are apparently going to Vegas for the tournament. So they're both dialed in to March Madness. But yeah, are you guys college basketball guys at all, or what's your knowledge?
For a couple weeks a year, I am, and this is that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, my champion is Purdue. Over
I kind of like that. I kind of like the Purdue pick because I feel like people are biased against them from last year.
Yes.
So people just have it in their minds that Purdue's going to choke.
I agree.
UConn, I
and-
believe, is like the slam dunk favorite. Well, as much of a slam dunk as it gets, but
So UConn's a
top-
huge favorite to
top
come out of
team.
their region, but to actually win the title, they're not that much of a bigger favorite than Houston and Purdue. So I figured, let me grab one of the other ones because the casuals will take UConn. So let me not compete with them and grab a team that's almost as likely to win.
Agreed.
And Tandy, who's your champ?
Well, I know absolutely nothing about men's basketball. What's funny is I used to run a bracket competition at my high school, and I would always be worried when I saw the principal near the door outside because I thought, "Oh shit, here it is! I'm about to get busted for running like an illegal gambling ring." That was always my interest in college basketball. Anyway, I don't know. I would probably just go like a random number 2 or something like that. Iowa State, they sound good. I think Iowa State's my pick. Iowa State's going to take it down.
I like it.
Iowa State?
I'm just
No,
choosing
they
a random.
No, I like it. That, like Mike was just saying, they're in UConn side of the bracket, so you get the leverage off the UConn people. I love that. Just no, they aren't. Just straight up, just like Iowa State is going to win. No, they are not.
Yeah, no, they probably won't. I mean, what are some other good non-chalk picks? Baylor at 3.
Well, what's interesting is Arizona is more likely to come out of the West region than North Carolina, if you believe the odds, which is a fun one. So probably if you want a non-1, Zona is your way to go.
Yeah.
If you really want to mix it up, maybe Bama's kind of cool. That's the region you want to get weird, the West. The other ones are stronger.
Okay.
Colgate. I don't know if you're a big toothpaste guy, but
yeah, I like toothpaste.
Yeah.
What seed is Colgate in there?
14.
Oh yeah, okay. You're really getting aggressive there. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Why not? I mean, there's always that one team that ends up in the
yeah, I
Sweet
wouldn't mind another
16
little
or
George Mason type run. That was awesome. That run was particularly good because they were knocking off like giant after giant. They didn't get like a friendly run at all.
Just went all the way. All right, gentlemen. Any final thoughts here? We'll be segueing right into some more March Madness talk with Justin and Justin momentarily. But Mike, Tandy, final thoughts before we say farewell to the two of you?
Mike, go ahead.
My final thought is I appreciate OTM. I think you guys do awesome things, and the ecosystem is so much better off because you guys decide to spend your time here. The tools you guys put together, I think, really contribute to the marketplace a lot. And I think, between Sniper, between all the data you guys have, people use it to flex their stacks of moments. People use it to find new moments. And these sorts of things matter a lot for the ecosystem. So I think you guys play an instrumental role in Flow, and we really appreciate everything you guys do. You guys have an awesome team, awesome platform, and always a pleasure chatting with you. And so thank you for having me on. Thank you for letting me shill Floaty and talk about Floaty and our recent progress. We very much appreciate that. I guess on that note, I'll drop in our Discord link into the chat here because a few people did have some questions. I don't want to take too much time on this stream to answer them, but if anyone wants to hop in our Discord and ask away, please do. And yeah, enjoy March Madness. Enjoy Dadhood. I'm gonna have to check out your pod, get some ideas on Dadhood. And yeah, that's
give it a listen.
That's it for me. Just appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for everything, and thank you for having me on.
Great. And well, I guess we got a giveaway going on.
Yeah, I almost forgot. Let's do a little hashtag Floaty for the first giveaway here. We will give away a Madness snack pack, which gets you another card to fill out a lineup in addition to your starter card. So yeah, hit those in the chat. Sorry, Tandy. I just wanted to get that going as you say your piece.
Yeah, my piece is, it's been very nice to be with you both. I'm in the room with two behemoths in terms of tools for the NBA Top Shot and Greater Flow community. So I'm honored to sit at this table. And also OTM always has a special place in my heart, because I think I said this the last time I was with you, but OTM was one of the first podcasts I ever listened to around NBA Top Shot when I was schwitzing in 100-degree weather in Brazil during COVID. And I wanted to learn more about NBA Top Shot. And TG, I think you were one of the first people that I listened to talk about all this madness. So it's always a special thing. And also, I think it was one of the first shows that I joined at like 1:30, 2 a.m. my time.
Yes, I remember that for sure. Yeah. Oh man, those were good times. Yeah, that was fun for anyone that was not around in those early days. It was really that was kind of the start of OTM, was just a podcast. And I was really just figuring out Top Shot on the fly, because nobody really knew what the heck this was. So yeah, that was good times, the glory days, man. I'll never forget those early months, and that kind of whole first year was a blast. And it's awesome to see a lot of us still around, still kicking it.
Yeah, because the idea is still there. The sort of enjoyment and fascination of opening a digital pack, and it just brings you back to when you're 7 years old. Like I'll never shake that. So no matter what happens, I'll never shake that feeling. And congratulations, of course, with everything going on with you and being a new dad and the new pod. I also have to check it out, and maybe we'll talk about dadhood on my show in the future as well. And if you're here in the chat and you've never came and hung out at Tandy Time, I definitely suggest you do, because thanks to the generous Mike Levy over here, I'm working together with Floaty, and we give away awesome rare moments to fill up your NBA Top Shot collection. So good times there as well. So always a good time, always a pleasure, and thank you for having me on.
Love it. Thanks for all of that. And follow Tandy, follow his YouTube channel, as he says there, every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Hit the hashtag Floaties in the chat. Last call for the giveaways, and then I'll plug so here's the podcast that is being referred to. It's called First Year Dad Podcast. That's me. Got 4 episodes in now. Doing the concept is that for my first year as a dad, it's going to be a 52 episode series where I publish an episode each week, talking through my dad experience, and it's been fun. It just every week is new and different, and learning something. So I'm trying to kind of take a different aspect, different topic to dive deep into. It's not I'm trying to make it not just a play-by-play of my life. I don't think anybody is too interesting in that, but I try to use what's going on and the kind of things that I'm seeing happen as I am a dad, and try to extrapolate those to life in general. I've been enjoying with it. So yeah, you can check that out if anybody out there is interested. All right. 27 people have entered the giveaway. Good luck, all. We are going to run this. We are going to say goodbye to Mike and Tandy, and then we are going to welcome Justin and Justin onto the show. Good luck.
Good luck.
The winner is, love to see all those Jolly Jokers popping up here, Chad Hutchings.
Congrats, Chad.
Hutchings, congrats. You're going to win yourself a TOC Madness snack pack. Get yourself an extra card to go along with your starter pack so you can enter the contest and get involved in the game. Congrats, Chad. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Tandy. Make sure you all are giving those guys a follow. See you guys soon.
Thank you.
See ya. All right. Great first segment there. 2 Top Shot OGs that are still hanging around the streets these days. I am going to take a quick intermission here. I've got Justin and Justin backstage, which is fantastic. I'm going to play, in honor of Mike and Tandy as Top Shot OGs, I'm going to play our 3-minute OTM NFT launch video, because it's the longest video that I've got, and it buys me the most time to take a quick bathroom break here and then be back. So we're going to play the video. I'll be back. I'm going to welcome Justin and Justin onto the show, and we're going to talk some March Madness. Be back in a second.
Producer Coop, can we please prepare for launch?
I've been offered $1 million for the Zion #1.
I mean, we have to ask about the Gary Vee thing, right? So
I think NFTs are here to stay in perpetuity. I think the NBA is one of the great IPs in the world. So I'm extremely bullish.
If you think about it, we've done $120 million of sales with less than 70,000 users, and so that's nothing. You know, that's the purpose of what's going to be possible for this when we take it real mainstream.
Do you get some anxiety opening these things at all?
Yeah, hell yeah! It's like when I was a kid when I opened up baseball cards. Yeah.
You want to do it already? You ready for this?
No. Boom shakalaka! You know what is also great is that I believe we have figured out
The sound.
Oh, producer Coop is shaking his head. He doesn't know. I know he's put some work into this.
No, shaking your head no, producer Coop. We tested this. All right, let me know if you guys hear this. We ready for it? Let's do it. We're hitting open pack. We're hitting open pack.
All right, I'm getting the marketplace up so we can get some valuation here.
You guys hear the music or no?
No, we don't.
He's on fire!
Listen up. Give me a go, no go for launch. Booster.
Go.
Retro.
Go.
Vital.
We're go fly.
Guidance.
Guidance go.
Surgeon.
Go flight.
Ecom.
We're go flight.
GNC.
We're go.
Telmute.
Go.
Control.
Go flight.
Procedures.
Go.
Inco.
Go.
FAO.
We are go.
Network.
Go.
Recovery.
Go!
Capcom.
We're go flight.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Roger that, Houston.
Always a good throwback right there. One of my favorite videos. Stogie says it best. Bring a tear to my eye. Okay, on to the next segment of the show. This is where the alpha is going to be dropped upon us. We've got Justin and Justin talking some March Madness here. Going to get some takes on all the teams in the March Madness tournament. Talk some bracket stuff. Justin PERRI, who's joining us, formerly of Moment Ranks and Shot Talking, is now a college basketball guru, it seems. So excited to learn more about everything that he's got going on. First, we've got Mr. Justin Herzig joining us. Justin, rocking the Wake jersey again.
I mean, we're the favorite in the NIT, and you got the words out. We are changing TOC Madness to be for the NIT tournament, no longer the NCAA once Wake dropped that. I thought that was at least what we were doing.
Yes, fantasy NIT is really what the people need. Riveting stuff there. What's going on, Justin? And another Justin. This is like the Mike and Mike, Justin and Justin here. Justin PERRI, what's going on?
Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for having me. It is definitely going to be confusing when you just pass it over to a Justin here. JJ, Jolly Joker's got the whole thing, but definitely appreciate you guys having me aboard. Excited to talk some hoops.
Now, this is going to be pretty easy. When he asks a question that requires some form of knowledge, it's going to be yours. When he's just trying to, pass the time or make a little joke, then it's probably talking to me. That's good at my expense.
Oh, come on. You're a gamer. You know how to attack these brackets and these pools just the same.
So it's funny because, like you said, and obviously, like the past 48 hours, I feel like I'm just so in the weeds on numbers. But like outside the ACC, I've watched very, very little college basketball. Good amount of Florida, actually. The wife went to Florida. The guys that I'm going to Vegas with are UF guys. So I've watched a decent amount of their games. Oh, also, like all about the college basketball, like Wake Forest, when they were close to getting in, they needed Florida to actually finish as a Q1 team because they got the win at home. So they needed to be like top 35 in net, and they hung around at 35. So I'm watching all those games. It really made things interesting. But yeah, from an actual like larger bracket style, like I can tell you what Kempom, I can tell you what Torvik, I can tell you what like some of the other people are saying. But that's why we want to bring you on, because obviously like the shot quality stuff, and you can give a quick overview of like what shot quality is. But you guys are so much more about the numbers than what actually happens in the game.
Yeah, definitely. TJ mentioned I've been doing a lot of the college basketball stuff since Moment Ranks and Collective and all that. I miss that. I miss shot talking, man. Those were the good old days. No one ever tells you you're in them, So obviously a big shout out to Christian and Seth and Clegaines, who, I'm trying to get Clegaines involved in some stuff. That dude loves his parlays. So shout out to Clegaines if he's in the chat. I don't know, but he's my guy. I get to hang out with him sometimes. He lives right over here outside of New York City. But yeah, man, I've been with Shot Quality essentially since everything winded down back then. 2 years almost now in the summer it will be with SQ. And I've sort of came in. I had done some betting stuff before, honestly, getting into the NFT world. I was with CBS Sports and doing Sportsline with them when I sort of got started with NBA Top Shot, which, never sold, guys. Still have a healthy collection. Very proud to say that on here. I knew my time would come to shine. I still have a lot of stuff locked. I'm long-term, baby. So if MBL's in the chat listening, I hope he's proud of me. But Tandy too.
Diamond hands.
Yes, There we go. It's written off. That's what it truly is at this point, and truly back in my mind, which is a great place for a long-term collector. But nonetheless, yeah. So joined on with Shot Quality. They sort of started building up the company, securing some funding, all that type of stuff. Still a very small startup. Really started, our founder is a college dropout from Colgate. We love it. He developed this algorithm while working with the Colgate basketball team to help them chart location-based shot quality, where on the floor a shot is being taken and who the player is, and trying to understand if that's a good opportunity for them rather than just evaluating shots on if it went through the hoop or not, right? There's so much more to basketball than just if a shot went down to dictate if it's good or bad. And that's kind of where, this whole thinking comes in. It's the expected goal philosophy of basketball. It kind of comes in, and now we've expanded it to computer vision and AI, analyzing the motion of players coming out of video feeds so that we can quantify who's taking what shot, where on the floor they're doing it, the closeout speeds, the opportunities elsewhere on the floor based on who's open in what areas, to help teams, bettors, whatever you want to be, fans. We do it all. So shot quality now, it's a eponymous metric. So shot quality itself is also the metric name of what we do. So we evaluate the shot quality of every single shot, basically assigning a make percentage based on all those factors. So, Steph Curry pulling up from a 35-foot three needs to have a difference than Shaquille O'Neal doing it. Some of the available stuff out there kind of has this average player mindset where it just is really where you're on the floor or the shot type action. We sort of have algorithms that learn about players, combine shot type action. Are you coming out of a pick and roll into an off the dribble three, or are you getting a catch and shoot, coming off of something that maybe was an isolation possession? I don't know. Whatever it might be. We have data on every single one, over like 50 million shots cataloged in our database. So it's been really cool. The model kind of having a down year for the bets projections, but we've had a incredible season developing our new live regression model that kind of scores games within a minute and a half, built an entire interface that is really powerful for live betting. Started a whole new show. I think I'm hitting like 59% over like 500 bets, just firing like a bet every 5 minutes, just trusting the data. So it's been really cool. A lot of great reception, a lot of great partners coming in. We just did this whole huge primer deal, which if you're interested in like a 300-page March Madness document, we got a good thing going on right now. But that's probably what I'll be using to get you guys some knowledge on some of these teams and hopefully help, make everyone's bracket a little bit better and help out in the game you guys got going on.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, TJ, you know that I, back in the day, was like heavily into the second half football betting and like was playing DFS. And I'm like, nice. I had more on one half of a football game than I had like in the entire Sunday of the slate. And it was because I thought like, hey, I can watch these games. I can maybe pick up on cornerback matchups or double teams, or like maybe it's injuries, but like there was some edge to watching the game. From what I understand, basically you guys have taken it on AI, added steroids to it, and use that to then better understand, like, all right, this is actually what the game should be. And I saw one example was, it may have been, I don't know.
A lot of beautiful examples.
That's fun. You're right. But there might have been one that I was watching one of the conference tournaments, and you were like, hey, so here's the score. They're down 8 points. It might have actually been like the Wake Forest game. But the Wake Forest versus Notre Dame, where Notre Dame was on like down 8 points or something. And it's like, hey, I think that this actually should be a closer one because this team's getting the better shots. Like we have the score that it should be a 2-point game. So I'm going to bet XYZ going forward. Right. I just think that's like, there's got to be some kind of edge there that that your normal, because the way that the algorithms are kind of picking up normally is they take the beginning of the game. Here's the spread. This team's a 2-point favorite. As the game goes on, they say, okay, these teams are ahead by this many points. Here's how much time's left in the game. Based off historical data, here's what the score is most likely to be. There's no way the books are taking into account the actual shot quality as you guys are.
Right. So the idea is usually these lines are set with, a closing line is a very heavily factored into what's going on live, right? So like, let's say you have for simplicity's sake, let's say you have like a 10-point spread, right? Usually it's broken down a little bit less than half and half. Usually it's more like 60-40. The first half, the better team's usually expected to get a little bit further out ahead, and then it tightens up in the second. That's usually how it's done in terms of the way the game works. But let's assume it's half and half, right?
Sense.
So like,
and that makes sense because the better team is not letting off in the first half. They will let off if they're up by 12 or 14 near the end of the game. You'll let some starters rest, or it's or it's like the free throws, and it's just like you can cut it down to like within the cover range, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the game's in the balance, even though you're shaving a couple of those points off the end of the number as they try to take a shot at it, right? But yeah, it's the live data really does essentially help us quantify in the minute who's lucky and who's not, right? And what we end up doing, which I think works really well for us, is we're consistently betting against the teams that are lucky and on the teams that are unlucky. So you're going against the ones that look like they're out to a huge lead, but shot quality is able to say like, you can do a lot of the work yourself, game by game, going into watching it yourself and seeing who's missing good shots, or even just going and seeing a box score. A lot of times it does line up. Shot quality has kind of the intricacies and the checks to make sure that there's luck, not just bad shots, right? But you can go look, if a team's like 2 for 13 from 3 early on, 9 times out of 10, like that's probably a good spot to get in on them, because those efficiency numbers aren't really going to catch up with the fact that if they continue taking those shots, they should do better than how they did this time, right? Like that's kind of the idea, is that we have if we replay the game over and over and over and over again, we like to use the number of like 10,000 simulations. What shot quality expects to happen is most likely going to be true, or more likely than not, and it's more predictive than the actual final score. We've can't speak today. Run a lot of tests on that though, guys, and it's more predictive faster than efficiency metrics. And I think we saw it a little bit. These efficiency metrics don't tell the whole story, right? Like if you lose a game by 30, should that really discount you more than losing a game by 15? And efficiency metrics say yes. So over the long term, it can kind of lead to a little bit of a cloudy picture when you're just
basing your tournament field off of Ken Palm and you're confused why Virginia got in. They had some really bad losses, but they also had some really good wins, but those were close wins. So now, you know,
by
you
25 points, they were getting crushed in those losses. Like,
right. And then they're so people who really only care about margin are like, why are they there? But still some really good wins, just not by a lot. So I don't know. A big debate, obviously.
We've nerded out a bunch. TJ, bring it back. Get us to what the people actually care about. Who's gonna win? Who should we pick in the brackets?
Love it. Yeah, let's all right. So I got three little things that I'd like to get from each of you guys. Let's see what were the all right. So okay, I'll give you guys the primer. I want to get to eventually each of your winner picks, your favorite Cinderella team, and then the team that you think is the most overrated. So a low seeded team that you think is not going to do well. So that's what we will get to. I wanted to start with, because I am not super plugged into all of this right now. I listened to the Establish the Run podcast, so I did that. But I have been hearing this narrative that, well, you hear the narrative every year that the selection committee messed up, yada yada yada. It seems like that's even stronger than ever this year. So what's kind of the TLDR on why the selection committee, or people think the selection committee made some mistakes? Do you guys able to summarize
that?
Yeah,
I can speak to that really quick. I think there's just a few teams that feel a little misseeded. Bracketmatrix.com does a lot of really good work. There's about 250 bracketologists who submit every year and update throughout the season and all that stuff. And there were some pretty interesting misses. I mean, a lot of the field had Oklahoma in, a bunch of the field had St. John's in. So Oklahoma was in 149 of 226, Virginia only in 23. So a big difference there. Nevada seems to be a little underseeded, a 10 versus a 7 in the matrix. Gonzaga is a 5, but a 7 in the matrix. FAU may be overseeded, expected to be a 10. And then New Mexico kind of got done dirty, an 11 instead of a 9. Boise State coming in as a 10. I don't know if you watched the selection show, but they were like mad when they saw they're going to Dayton. They did not think they deserved that. The community didn't think they deserved that. And then Utah State coming in as an 8. They were probably projecting a little bit closer to a 6, 7. So a lot of misses on seed lines, and the score of the community was like the best score in the community would have placed like 151st last year. So that gives you just a sense of like how off the committee was compared to the community. And I don't know, I like the consensus, but this game they play is really just about like the tail end teams, like who's going to get that right and the seeding right. At the end of the day, when you zoom out, this tournament really does boil down to the best of the best. The majority of championships have been won by seeds lower than 3 or 4. So
I think, and I'll echo that. I think this year, it's not so much about who did and didn't make the tournament. It's about where some of those teams got placed.
Right.
And what we've learned is, the committee has actually been very consistent with telling us what matters in getting into the tournament. And for the most part, like, they've been consistent there. Yes, there's always going to be usually like 2 to 6 teams that are like really close and it could go either way. But where they've really veered is this year is moving away from efficiency metrics. Efficiency metrics are kind of what, Justin was talking about with regards to shot quality bets, but the more generic ones are like Ken Palm and Torvik are 2 of the best efficiency metrics. And what these are doing is showing on a per play basis, how good are these teams? How good are they at stopping on defense? How good are they at putting points in the bucket? And those efficiency metrics, if you win a game by 1 point or you lose a game by 1 point, it's pretty much the exact same thing from an efficiency. It literally came down to that 1 point. But to the committee, that's a huge difference. And so what we've seen is they're basically either telling us that efficiency metrics are more reactive than predictive, or they just don't care about efficiency metrics, and the weight of your portfolio, the weight of who you played, how you did against them from an actual win-loss is most important. And the 2 things that we see that most commonly here is Michigan State and I'd say New Mexico. And these are probably the 2 teams that people are going to be the popular darlings, because Michigan State by metrics is like a top 20 team, but they're a 9 seed. And so you would imagine 9 seed should be like a top 36-40 team. And then the other one, we talked New Mexico. They're a top 25 team, and they're an 11 seed. I mean, they're a favorite against Clemson, who's a 6 seed, and that's 6-11. And then people think New Mexico can actually go far because, yeah, that's a top 25 team. That's pretty decent. So that's where I think the kind of animosity or the angst against the committee comes from is, are you just completely disregarding these efficiency metrics, which we all have seen to believe these are the most predictive kind of stats for future success?
Yeah, you nailed it, honestly. Again, it's interesting. It's hard to decipher, but now we're here. We have the field. I think it's just you got to look forward and try to decipher these matchups because that's what matters most. Yes.
All right, so I'll share my screen, show a little bracket here just so we get a little visual going for each of the regions. This is our OTM bracket pool that we are running. You can get into this pool by purchasing one of the TOC Madness packs. We'll definitely get into some of the TOC Madness at the end with Justin here, talk you through that game, see if you have any real-time reactions to how that is set up. But for anybody that wants to get into this pool, all you have to do is buy at least one of the packs. That'll get you enough cards to play the game along with your starter pack, and then get you into this bracket where the top 25 are winning some prizes, including a pretty sweet rare Jolly Joker to number 1. But let's take this kind of let's just do a little quick region by region. If you guys have any specific takes on.
Yeah, let's start at a high level because Justin and I were actually chatting a bit on Twitter yesterday because he was looking for something that I'm very familiar with because I use it and TJ, if you listen to the ETR pod, I haven't listened to this year's, but they've done it the past couple of years. They probably touch on it. But in filling out brackets, the optimal way to do it, Justin, give us the insight, what you were looking for, why you were looking for it, and how it kind of comes into play.
Sure. Yeah. So we build a value bracket over at Shot Quality, and I use it in my personal bracket building as well. But you need to know what the field is picking the same way you want to know usage rates in DFS, and you want to have predicted usage rates because you don't really want to be going into the most popular mindsets. It's not going to allow you to separate from the field, right? So we're looking, ESPN did a people's bracket, but they didn't give the round by round. So we have like some first round data. That's nice and all, and it's great. And we used it. But after that, it's very hard to find like what percentage of people have FAU making the Final Four this year. Like we don't have that. So not from ESPN. Yahoo, great job. Yahoo Sports. Respect.
So Yahoo does have it. Okay.
Yahoo does have it, but the sample size is very different. I mean, ESPN Tournament Challenge is the most popular one. It's basically the only one I used for the last few years myself. Most people use it or at least have their bracket on there. So it's a big deal. We'll see. I don't know. My tinfoil hat conspiracy theory is that ESPN bet went live this year and they're keeping it under the hood and using it to price futures. But who knows? I don't know what the data deals are like. I'm not, saying anything. I'm just being funny about it. Don't sue me. But I think this is it's a different type of thing. You got to just deal with it. The Yahoo data should be pretty similar. So it's like the gripe isn't too serious, but would have loved to have the ESPN data. Still have some good stuff. We actually just had the value bracket go live, and it's pretty interesting. Some crazy calls. Some you might not expect. That's the whole point, right? You want to make calls that will, maybe low risk that if you get right can separate you from the field.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to think about it. So like a super simple example would be, say there's an 8 versus a 9 seed, and the math has it at 50-50 chance that either team wins, but 70% of people are picking the 8 seed, right? Yeah. Then you want to be picking the 9 seed because it's a coin flip of a game, but you want to be on the side where only 30% are picking them versus the 70%. I think that's for sure the best way to think about the bracket from like a game theory standpoint. I've also been because they don't have the 538, our favorite old website doesn't have their thing anymore, right? That used to be my go-to, was using that and seeing kind of their percentages. Does that still exist or is that gone? Okay.
So someone sent it to me.
Nate Silver put it behind a paywall for this year. So Nate Silver, who is the original
people on these paywalls, man. People on these paywalls.
And so he says he's also doing it for a test for if this is successful, he's going to do that for the presidential election, which is what his initial bread and butter comes from. So if you do want it, though, for $8, you can go get it. If you don't, Ken Palm still does something very similar. Torvik does something similar. I kind of compiled them together because I've got a Calcutta that I'm in tonight. So using those as my kind of inputs. But yeah, I mean, so what you guys talked about with regards to the knowing who the public goes for, and people who played either TOC or DFS and have an idea of like trying to find that unique one, that low-owned contrarian one. Yeah, if you knew that you could, if someone has a better chance of advancing than how often they are being picked, in general, it's a decent consideration there.
Yeah, agreed.
So there's good high-level strategy of how we want to approach this. Let's just kind of look at some of these regions and if there's any specific hot takes that you guys have. We got the West bracket here in the top left. North Carolina coming as the 1 seed there. Arizona in at the 2. Justin, any thoughts on the West region in general? What do you think of UNC as a 1 seed? I think I might be hearing that they're one of the weaker 1 seeds this year. Is that
it's a tough path. It's definitely a bit of a tough path, and I think the odds indicate that they are one of the weaker ones. You know, they're going to have to go through teams like either Alabama or St. Mary's, unless we see an upset from Charleston or Grand Canyon. Again, both even, you know, Grand Canyon could end up being formidable too, right? Like this is a pretty loaded pod here. Michigan State, Mississippi State, both those teams could give UNC a lot of trouble. So they should be able to get by Howard, who I do have winning the play-in game, but UNC is definitely going to have some trouble. They're really good, don't get me wrong, but to have to go through St. Mary's, Sparty, Arizona, that might be pretty tough. It's going to be a decent challenge, and I don't know if Arizona makes it, but you might also have teams like Dayton, Baylor, Clemson, Nevada. It's a good field this year. There's no, like, the 1 seeds in general, to me, for the prices that you're getting betting, for the number of people who, you know, are just making brackets and are going to put their 1 seeds through, I think it's definitely a team you might want to stay off of to get later. I have seen some really sharp thinking about, you know, taking North Carolina in like the first round of Survivor, even though they're 1, because they might not be trustworthy in those later rounds. So some interesting thinking there. You know, in this West region, I every year I put Arizona going far, and every year it bites me. I want to think this is the year. I really do. But yeah, I think it probably a dark horse is probably New Mexico, but not super confident there either. St. Mary's, if I guess I had to boil it down to just 1.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway for me with this bracket is Arizona. They're by most metrics like the 4th best team in the country, Auburn. Okay, I'm getting confused with my A's. All right, so yeah, UNC still overrated in this one, but it's kind of just pretty flat there. But Arizona was the one who's actually favored to come out of this ahead of UNC for whatever reason. The one note for me is, if you look back, Tom Izzo, I don't know what it is, but Michigan State went on I think it's like 5 out of the 6 last tournament appearance or something. They went 1 further than what they were actually projected from a betting standpoint. And so I don't know if it's a Tom Izzo coaching. I don't know what it is, but Michigan State over UNC, like, I'm going to be putting a lot of consideration in potentially making that pick, mostly because I want to have Arizona coming out of this quad. And so if I'm not going to have UNC coming out, I may as well, take a chance on something like that, where I think like Michigan State has a decent chance. They're a 1.5 point favorite against Mississippi State. And I just think Tom Izzo, some with him and the way that he prepares teams, they come for the tournament, and just historically have gotten that 1 extra win.
UNC also just has such that name recognition that the people that aren't paying attention are always like, oh, UNC, I'm going to pick them. They're always good.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year they were the 7 seed. They beat number 2 seed Marquette. That was their big upset there. I think they were actually I'm going through their last ones too, but they've had some. They beat Duke when they were who was the 1 seed in 2019, a little while back. Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting one, man. I think, North Carolina here for me in the West, right? They really did a good job entering conference play. Honestly, I think they struggled a little bit early in the season. Some of their ranking history fell down to around 19th, now all the way up. Their peak was 6, mid-January, late January, now sitting around 9th. So in that top 10, they have a top 10 defense. They have some good freshmen. Man, I think this whole team sort of anchors into that defensive presence with Baycott down low. This is a bona fide top 10 option. They should get by Howard. Like I said, Michigan State's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to fully get behind, but they do have an experienced core. And if you trust that type of thing with Izzo's leadership, which has proven itself March and March again, look, the only issue is Sparty has struggled at the free throw line, and that means they can't close out games, especially if they're up. If you're going to take Michigan State, I would make sure you're watching those games. They have a big lead in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Do not expect them to, close out at the free throw line and get out. I don't have a lot of faith in them winning games. I think they can do well when the pressure's off, but the minute they have to close a game, the fan sentiment's low because of it. It's gonna be tough. Tyson Walker, AJ Hoggard, still really nice guards, and that can really lift you in the tournament. But I think if they do meet UNC, it's gonna be a battle. I probably would take Michigan State to cover, but I don't know. For my tough choice, that's a big one, guys.
Yes. All right, and I think this is why I confused you, Justin, because I meant to start in the top left, but I started in the bottom left by accident. But that's okay. We'll just work our way up to the east now, starting with this left side of the bracket. This is UConn's side. So you heard mention Auburn. So we'll kind of start with your take there, because UConn is the tournament favorite, right? And certainly the favorite to come out of this. So let's hear your take on UConn, Auburn, and the east side of the bracket.
Yeah, I think UConn could be the best team in this tournament. By a lot of metrics, they've looked the part. They won their Big East tournament, but the East is a very, very difficult bracket. And so, and just because we think that like, hey, this team is the best, maybe they're 60%, maybe they're 55% to win some of these tough games, where you compare someone like Houston, who's probably the second best or so team coming in, but has such an easier bracket to get out of. And so when you just think of like, how many things do you need to go right? Well, I'd rather, even if it's a worse team, Houston versus UConn, you tell me they're playing straight up, UConn's probably like a 1.5, 2.5 point favorite or something. But to actually get to that championship game, UConn's got a lot more games, so they're only going to be like 2.3 point favorites, where Houston in the Sweet 16 Elite 8, they're going to be 5-6 point favorite or something. And so for this one, Auburn is that one that I was talking about, where there might be the 4th, 5th best team in the country, and somehow they got a 4 seed. That one just didn't make sense. There's a lot of SEC hate. UF getting like they ended up as a 7 seed. I thought they were going to end up with like a 5th or a 6th. So that's where this is a tough bracket. If I'm doing bracket contests, whoever comes out of this bracket, I'm probably not picking to make the next, because it's such a low likelihood of getting it correct who comes out of this one.
I think I agree there. This is going to be interesting. The top of this one is being played here in Brooklyn, FAU Northwestern and UConn Stetson on the 22nd. Man, you talk about the ultimate March Madness group of death. I think this might be it, guys. UConn, Iowa State, Illinois, Auburn, the first 4 seeds in this side, all won their respective power conference tournament, all cut down nets. So, Big East, Big 12, Big 10, SEC champions, all on the same side of the bracket. Only one champion from those power conferences could end up winning this whole thing. That's crazy. And then on top of that, throw in San Diego State, throw in FAU. Now you have 75% of last year's Final Four on this side of the bracket on top of all of that. So, and then throw in BYU, one of the teams that led the offensive scoring in the Big 12. They take like 6 or 8 more threes than any Big 12 team. They're ready to go against any type of competition. top 10 in shot quality. They just have been getting a little unlucky. This is going to be crazy. The second round here, it might be UConn, FAU, Auburn, San Diego State, and BYU, Illinois. That is on still the first weekend. So crazy one. I definitely think that you can trust San Diego State to beat UConn. You can trust Auburn to beat Yale. I feel really good about both of those. I saw Yale in person just a couple days ago. Their star player, Danny Wolf, has a mask on his face, and they can't stretch the floor. It's going to be a problem against this Auburn team if he can't get that mask off and he can't hit those threes. Janai Broome is going to absolutely dominate their attempts at the rim. They're not going to be able to stretch the way they want, and they were barely beating the Brown team. So, this is a really interesting one. I think Illinois is really live. I would not be shocked if this is Auburn, Illinois for a chance to go to the Final Four. That's my sleeper pick here. Illinois has been really good, and they might have two of the best dudes in the tournament, which is Damask and Terrence Shannon. And if one of them can't lift up the team, the other probably can. Watch those guys drop like combined 65 on 30 shots on FAU's head. So if they meet FAU, they probably get past them. That's for sure. But I don't know. Morehead State's like a popular upset pick. I think that's way off.
When I think about like from a game theory perspective, it's interesting because I'm trying to think through like from a brackets aspects of what do I do with this quad going forward afterwards? Because if you're choosing UConn to win this quad,
sure,
I think it's fine. But the thing is, they're like, it's just so tough because whoever comes out of this is probably becomes the instant favorite to win like the whole tournament. But to come out of it, it's the least confident thing you're going to do because just how difficult it is. Like maybe if you want to say hey, I think Auburn does come out, then maybe it's worth just continuing with Auburn all the way through the championship because once, the difficulty for Auburn is getting out of the bracket. If you're going to pick them to get out of the bracket, you may as well then get that continued leverage of them winning it all. I could see that. I
agree. It's tough. It's definitely, I think if you're looking for your long shot and you want to take one of the teams in this, I would just, kind of stay away from the top options here in the East, just because it has to go through so much, right? I'm not taking a short price on UConn for a ticket right now. I get it. But these are going to be some tough games. And if they keep running into tough competition, you might just be better off taking money line rollovers, which sounds crazy, but at such a short price, like plus 450 or something. I don't even know, man. I'm not touching those types of prices. And I might still like UConn for my bracket. That's a very different battle, right? So bracket, they still might be the best team. But if you're talking about like price, if you're talking about trying to get, unique with it and give yourself a chance, sure. But if you do want just the best team and you just want to put the team that probably has the best chance to do it, it still is UConn. But I don't know. It's a really tough balance, right? Like who can actually do it versus who can separate themselves if they happen to do it. And, it doesn't go exactly all to plan, which maybe happens more frequently than it does going in actually going to plan.
I feel very confident that we'll use it for an example, $100 bet on UConn, and whatever you win, roll that over into the next money line bet. That would win you more than plus 400, which is what I'm seeing right now on the one. I'm in Florida, so I only get Hard Rock, so maybe it is.
You're probably not going to start with Stetson. You're not going to start with Stetson, but yes, it would.
Well, okay. So 100, you win $3 probably in that first one. 103. Now the next one, you probably turn that 103 into like 130 or something. Okay.
Right. Now maybe a little more. If it's FAU, it might be a little more than that, honestly, right? Because there's a lot of favoritism for FAU. It's a Final Four rematch. Yeah, I think that is definitely the way to go here, especially if some of these very popular teams make it.
And I'll keep it conservative, but we'll go 135 then. Then maybe you go against Auburn or San Diego State. That 135 now probably turns into about 200. Maybe even if it's Auburn, it's probably more like 230, 220.
Yeah.
Now we're at 220 and we're in the Elite Eight. You've got Elite Eight semifinals championship, 3 games where they're not going to be substantial favorites, and you're 230. Like, you're definitely turning that
Right.
into
It could
more than the
almost
plus
be
400.
even money, and they should be even money slight favorite, like at most minus 145 against anyone in the field for a money line in the championship. So if you just go back from there, like from one step back on the championship, right?
230 turns into 400, 400 turns into 700, 700 turns into 1200. Like now you're getting plus 1100, plus 1200 versus those. That's why some of these just such bad odds to take a favorite who's right now plus 400.
In a 15 to 30% hold market, like, you're going to be able to just go and find, especially if you can get good prices, especially if you have like exchanges or you can shop and get really nice prices on these things. And these are high liquidity markets. So like if you do have those options, you're in New Jersey, and man, I wish right now for me personally, New Jersey's got a good, Colorado's got those exchanges as well. You can get really tight pricings. So it's nice. And, that's your whole edge at the end of the day. I mean, in sports betting, we say like, the best fight for that 3-4% ROI at that 55%, you're a king in this industry long-term. So if you can beat pricing, if you can shop, it's a big deal right now. And rollovers can keep you out of high hold markets like futures, which, I will sometimes try to bet, but what do you got there?
Look at this. Just to win the region is minus 105 for UConn.
Wow. That's crazy. I don't like that. I wish, do they have no's? Can you take a no?
No, of course they don't. Yeah. It's all, I think Florida.
I think FanDuel might have no's.
I'm in Florida. Honestly. I have one legal book. It's the Hard Rock. Fair. It is very, very poor odds. But like, just as an example, Auburn, you can get plus 500. Yeah, that's just crazy how much. I would bet that no for the heartbeat. Circa, has the nose. They're fantastic. That's
I think honestly, I think they've done a decent job here. So let's see if you go find. So that's like to make the Final Four, right? So
yes.
Where would you find this? Okay, I think they have to make the Sweet 16. No, it's a little bit tougher. But they do have Elite 8. So I could do Connecticut no to make the Elite 8.
I have both those. Elite 8 for UConn is minus 190. Sweet 16 is minus 850.
Wow, I have minus 160, and the no is plus 130. I have the no. Interesting market. Market. I wish it was Final Four, but I'd consider it. So it's gonna be tough. And then to think that that was minus 160, and then they're plus 110 to win the next game, and like that price, it just doesn't work for me. So I'll probably look to nose. It's gonna be hard. It's going to be very hard. UConn is actually a noted lucky team in shot quality. We have all these graphics. We have this really cool company actually came in and made this entire primer. We're using our data, compared KenPom, Torvik, all this stuff. I'll get you guys like a complimentary copy if you want to check it out. But it's like literally 300 pages, 4 on every single one of the teams. And UConn is like outside of the top 10 in shot quality, and everyone else has them 1. They've actually been a little bit lucky, and I think it has to do with just the difficult to quantify height of Donovan Clingan and just how much he alters shots. So I think that 26.5 on them might be big, but they should return money on those rollovers, and rollovers can usually be pretty profitable. I hesitate to locking my money up unless I know it's a good price and I can essentially figure out that I won't get that type of price on a rollover.
TJ, I'm going to share a screen real quick, but
let's see it.
If anyone's, are you familiar with this account, Justin?
Yeah, I had Evan on my show actually just a couple weeks ago. It's in my pinned tweet right now. Had him talk about his new relative rankings, where he uses, he finds out like which teams are better against good competition and which teams are better against bad teams. So you can like predict that St. Peter's was maybe a little more likely to upset Purdue, stuff like that. So big fan of Evans. He does really good work, and it's really fun to digest that data.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this is. It has to do with kind of opponent strength adjustment and how they play against like better teams. And we're talking about UConn, but UConn really shows up here and just showing UConn when they're playing the good opponents, they rise to that occasion. And so your top right here are the ones that like, hey, we know they're good. And also when they play the best people, they play really well. UConn head and shoulders kind of above the rest. In this middle area, those are the ones that we can call them kind of streaky. We can call them like high upside, low floor. But someone like UF, who UF beat, I think it was Auburn by 16, just absolutely destroyed them. Obviously, before they lost in the SEC finals, but that's going to town on like the top 5 team. They also have some rough losses. So that's the group where if you find some teams in there, they're not going to be the higher seeds. But if they can go on a run, they have the ability to really kind of have that strong, like we see NC State there. We know the run they just went on, beating Duke in the semifinals, UNC in the finals. So if anyone, this was a cool chart that I was like wanted to highlight where you were talking about like, that UConn really is such a good team, but also there's Auburn right there, right next to them as the 4 seed. Tough.
Auburn, man, it's that's a huge missed seed to me. I mean, the fact that only one of those teams can make the Final Four, and then we have a bunch of other teams in here that fit that bill too, like Illinois is another one of the teams in here. San Diego State, another one of the teams in here. Maybe even like Mississippi State. Like this is such a loaded side. So yeah, I think you just maybe want to take one of those better price tickets, the flyer, maybe a few. I had a really good conference tournament season. Honestly, I brought a couple really nice tickets into the finals. I had a couple, I had 25-1 on St. Joe's that I was able to, and a 10-1 on VCU. I had, a beautiful 25-1 on Milwaukee. And so taking these long shots can work really well. I fully believe that you should ignore any prescription of teams being that much better than one another at this point in the year. I think it is such a profitable mindset to go in questioning whether teams are actually better than each other or not, and then looking at these prices as just basketball games. Like, yeah, Purdue's great, but we've seen it all. And sure, Tennessee's great, but they can absolutely get like shut down. That 19.5, 21.5 on St. Peter's, man, it's a big number. And I'm not saying they're going to do it again, but we'll see. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. This is the other side that we're talking about on Yahoo that shows, because I was curious, like, how often are people picking? And you can see like 35% of people, more than a third of people are picking UConn to win it all. I might end up just taking Auburn in my bracket just as a kind of FU to the committee. But hey, if they can beat UConn, then that's the other thing. If you're playing just from like picking an underdog to win it all, or similar to picking an underdog as a winning the tournament bet, you have to win all your games anyways. It's not as big of a deal that you play UConn early on. You are most likely going to have to beat UConn at some point in the tournament. So I do think that the markets really ding the teams that have to play them early on, because it feels worse to lose your championship, your winner bet in the second round, when in reality, you are probably going to have to. Now, yes, you have to play one extra really hard team than someone else, and that comes into it. But like, yeah, the more I'm on the stream, the more I'm thinking like I'm saying screw it, Auburn to win it all.
I like it. The difference is that like some of these early teams that face these big, daunting tasks, the reason they're priced so high is that if they get it done early, that price drops like a rock, right? Like if you're on Sparty and they get past UConn, like you're holding a winning ticket, you can just like hedge them, as they face everyone else, just bet against them because you're going to be holding a nice priced money line ticket essentially that you can go against. So it's a really nice way to attack it. I think you definitely want to try to escape, especially in betting, looking at like these number 1 seeds, at least, for futures, someone's going to do it. Like, don't get me wrong. It's going to be one of the top 5 or 10 teams, but I think the value is probably a little bit lower than Auburn, Creighton, at Tennessee even. Yeah, they looked really bad, but it could be a buy low. Arizona's had disappointing results in last year as a bitter taste in the mouth. That can often lead to a good price. When you feel that way, it usually means you're onto something that's priced better than it should be.
There you go.
A lot of knowledge dropped right there, ladies and gentlemen. Love to see that. Justin also kind of just, I had asked 2 questions about who's your, like you got Auburn for both. They're your winner and your Cinderella-ish at the same time. So
if I had to do real Cinderella,
Yeah, you guys have any real and like not
Michigan
a
State or New
win,
Mexico.
but who's a double-digit seed that you could see making Sweet 16 or maybe an Elite 8 type of run? I think that's always something that people like to look for in the brackets.
Definitely New Mexico for me, with them being a slight favorite against Clemson in that first game. Then off the top of my head, the 3 seed they would go against is Baylor. I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's one of the lighter 3 seeds. Baylor's fine. The Big 12 obviously has brought so many teams into the tournament this year. But like, I'm not the most scared of Baylor as I could be of some of the others. So if I had to pick a double digit, New Mexico is the team I'd go with.
And so that's a tough question. I want to say Oregon. I think they have the athleticism. They can match up against Kalkbrenner when they play Creighton. They'll be able to, battle against Texas or Tennessee, I think. So maybe a little slept on. I think these West Coast teams often give you a really, really solid advantage because college basketball very naturally has an East Coast bias just because of where 2/3 of the schools are located and the way it works. It's just, I think that's one to look at. And then if you want to go even a little further up, everyone's taken Drake against that Washington State team, another Pac-12 team. Don't sleep on the Pac-12. That's my hypothesis right now. Another one that's going to be fun, I think a lot of people are choosing, though, maybe errantly, James Madison. They're going to have to get through Wisconsin, who's been playing great. Houston is probably another team they're going to have to run into. So, yeah, I think if you're just pressing me, it's going to be either Oregon or even Grand Canyon. I know St. Mary's is very good, but if they can get out of that first round, I think they could go toe-to-toe with Alabama, whose defense has been kind of atrocious. And then again, could they play North Carolina tight? Yes. So that's it. I wouldn't really touch anyone in the East. Yale, UAB, Moorhead, Drake, and even Duquesne. Those all feel like not the greatest places to look. I don't trust the Vermont Catamounts. NC State has been a fun story. Maybe they can get by Kentucky after Texas Tech, but yeah, I would look towards Oregon really as the one for me. Maybe Colorado State there coming out of that 10 spot, though. If they get on a roll and they dominate Virginia tonight, they could, and they look really good, they could definitely get by Texas, get by Tennessee. And then, it's a little bit weaker in the Midwest there until you get to Purdue. So it should be fun.
I've got one more question for you with regards to this. Kansas, they obviously had their two of their main guys. I think their center and one of their guard, McCullough, were hurt, but look like they're healthy. At Florida, lost their center. Like, who's the big injury that we should be accounting for that maybe some of these Ken Pump, Torvik, 538 metrics aren't really accounting for?
Yeah, Marquette. We don't know how Tyler Kolek's going to be. I think is the big question right now. Other than that, a lot of teams feel okay. Again, another one is Kansas, right? Like they kind of bowed out of the Big 12 tournament. McCullough and who else? Escaping me right now, but 2 of their players were hurt.
Hunter Dickinson, their center.
Yeah, 2 players were hurt. They were like, these guys aren't going to be right. They kind of just took the spanking in that first game, and they're getting ready for this. So, very wide range of outcomes given that. I don't know if that makes you want to attack it more and then grab every plus money opportunity you can. I'm going to be out in Vegas. I'm going to be grabbing all those underdog race to 15s I can, man. It's one of the sharp bets out there. It's a lot of fun because, that part of the game probably means the least, right? It's the furthest from the axe getting chopped. So a team like San Diego State at 15 coming out and shooting threes against Iowa State, they hit a few. They're up 15-10 early, and they get blown out the rest of the way. It's just like it's a little bit less serious as teams are working it out, getting the jitters out, getting started the first game of the tournament, second game of the tournament. Some first half money lines, first half dog spreads, raise to 15s. That's how I'll be playing it. Hopefully holding some fun plus money tickets.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's get into some. So any final thoughts on the bracket stuff before we talk through the little game that we got going on here and get some of Justin's thoughts there, see if he has any takes on teams that work for this format.
final thoughts are probably just like, don't be afraid. I would almost find the teams you really like first and like almost establish the teams you'd like to make that run to the Elite Eight, and then try to like fill in the rest of your bracket. Like the top of the bracket's always really chalky. Like you're going to see, a couple ones and maybe a 3, and then there might be an 8, a 7 in the final 4. It can happen. An 11 has made it twice in the last 6 years now. Loyola Chicago and UCLA, but it's probably going to be like an 8, a 7, as that like wild one, maybe a 3, a 2, and a 1. That's probably what it's going to be like. Maybe 1, 1, 4, 5. It's going to be a little like that. So find the teams in that like top 15, 20 range that you'd like to make the run. Find the number 1 seeds you think are the best that just, clear everybody out. And then, pick your spots to make some higher leverage shots in the dark, right? If you have a team, 2 teams that you really like in a region, have the third team that you don't like as much that is very popular go down in the second round. Even if you don't fully believe it, like a leverage shot that doesn't destroy your bracket. I would just remember that at the end of the day, when you zoom out from these tournaments, the best teams always win, and the craziness of the first rounds usually settle down by the time we get like halfway through.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's talk a little TOC Madness. So this is our new game that we've got for this March Madness tournament. It's a fantasy basketball style. How it works, let me pull up this again from earlier. So how the game works is that you collect these packs of cards, and then you use them to play in fantasy contests. And there's 3 different contests, one for each weekend of the tournament. So first contest is for rounds 1 and 2. Then the second one is for rounds 3 and 4. Final one is for the final 4 plus the championship game. And each of the cards has one of the 64 teams from the tournament and then a stat category. And then you score fantasy points according to that stat category. For the points card, you score 1 fantasy point for every point scored, 2 fantasy points for every rebound, 5 fantasy points for every assist, and then 7 fantasy points for the defense card, which is for every block plus steal. So provides a unique spin on this where, in traditional fantasy, you obviously need to know the players. When it comes to March Madness, let's be honest, most people don't know a ton of the college basketball players, but it's very easy to watch the game and say, okay, I've got Houston rebounds and I'm watching the game and I can see very clearly when Houston gets a rebound and know that, okay, yes, that's good for me. I'm scoring points here. So this is the game format that we have. And of course, you still want to be picking teams that win, because teams that win their first round game will get 2 games played, and of course, score more fantasy points as a result of that. So how the game works, each pack has 4 cards in them, guaranteed to have 1 from each of the stat categories. Every user also is eligible to claim a completely free starter pack to get going. So Justin, even yourself, if you logged into the OTM website,
I already did. So I already got
there. We go. Boom, boom.
There we go.
Did you open up? How were your cards? Get anything good?
Yeah, some pretty fun ones. I got like McNeese. I got Michigan State. So we talked about them. It should be good. No crazy high seeds, which is all right. Gonna have to grab myself a pack or 2 and maybe organize it. But I love that format. Definitely brings me back to the old MoMA Ranks play days in terms of architecting lineups based on who you think or what teams are going to get like specific stat categories. I love it. Should be a fun one. I think there's definitely some room to really flex like your understanding of matchup dynamics and architect a nice team.
Yeah. That the comparison to play is a good one, where that play type coming in and kind of looking at the specific stats categories. One thing that we've seen is the defense card, for example, the most volatile, but given that you get 7 points for every steal and block, we've seen a ton of upside there with one team dominates another, getting lots of steals and blocks. You can add up fantasy points quickly there. So I think it's going to be a fun format overall. Let's go ahead and open up a pack here, go through that experience, and then we'll do another giveaway for the people in chat.
Ooh, nice. I'll have to enter that one.
Justin Herzig, anything to add as we go through the TOC game?
No, I'm excited. Let's do it. I've been diving in, watching all that pack feed, watching the activity feed. We are now up to over 80,000 gold, so over $8,000 in prizes. I expect that to easily clear that 100,000 gold, $10,000 mark, and we'll see how high it keeps climbing.
Agreed. Love to see it. All right, here we go, people. Let's see what we got in this pack.
Ooh,
Iowa
good start.
State points. That's a nice start right there.
Tandy picking the 2-seed Iowa
Interesting
State.
one. That's tough. They don't score a lot. They take them like more twos than anyone in the country.
This is the alpha that we need.
Yeah,
so
tough.
Okay, so Iowa State, a little
Low
lower
total
scoring
game.
Lower scoring team. Okay.
I think we talked about that when we were talking about the Big 12 conference tournaments, that Iowa State is the second likeliest to win it, but they play such a slow pace that even if you were to get them, it's not nearly as valuable as kind of some of them went playing that has faster pace efficiency games.
Love it. All right, number 2.
Ooh.
Wisconsin rebound.
All right, we're staying hot with the cards.
That's nice. In the first round, that'll be nice.
Wow. I mean, that's got to be one of the best.
Wow.
I think we tried to make it so that the stat categories are pretty even, but I do think that assist seems to be a strong one, and especially of a good team like UConn, that
they're gonna tear up Stetson.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of easy assists, right into easy buckets. That should be a great play in the first round.
That's a nice one right there.
That's a big one. I think I saw it was going for like 250 gold or something. So that's a nice one.
And then that's okay. Yeah, once you get the UConn assist, you're kind of chilling there. So we got a nice little pack here. Can we give away specific cards? I think we can. I don't see why not. So I think we should up the ante on the giveaway here and give away this UConn assist.
Wow.
What do you guys think about that?
What do we think about that? That's a game changer card.
I'm gonna let Justin decide whether or not that's too much.
Oh no, give it away. I love it. Give someone a big advantage. You got to play this in probably every round. This is an anchor card. You could sell all your other assist cards and load up on some good teams for blocks that maybe have height advantages.
I'll agree you should at least play it in the first week, but then in that second week when they play Auburn in the first game in that Sweet 16, I mean, don't say I didn't tell you.
The thing is that whenever you have Donovan Clingan, that you can just from Newton, you can get assists. It's going to happen, and they take a lot of catch and shoot threes, which means that the lack of dribbling, you're not going to lose those assists. I just think with how Cam Spencer's playing and how this entire team is playing, they should have a good amount of assists. I wonder who leads the team's assist leaders right now in college basketball. It looks like right now in assists per game, Kansas, Arizona, BYU, UConn, Colorado State all have over 18.5 assists, and Purdue. So yeah, that's a pretty good team. If you're looking for some under the radar assist teams, Samford, you might be able to get kind of cheap right now. Maybe even something like TCU, who runs a lot of transition and really pushes it. You can get like easy passes into layups. And then probably Tennessee, for the same reason, just feeds into that transition attack out of the defense.
There you go. Yeah, the cheapest UConn assist on the marketplace is 500 gold.
Not bad.
Yeah, nobody wants to sell it. They're like, yeah, you can pay me the price of 2 packs, or I'm playing my line.
You're giving away 2 packs. That means right here,
yeah,
TJ.
This is a significant one here. So hashtag madness in the chat here. If you are in the chat and watching, you got yourself a nice chance here to add a cornerstone to your collection. So give me the hashtag madness in the chat. We'll run the giveaway here, and then we're going to close down this segment of the show. As we do that, Justin, let the people know where they can find you. Also, actually, before we do that, both of you are apparently going to be in Vegas this weekend. So let's get the quick 411 on what you guys are up to in Vegas. That pretty nice time of year to be going there for March Madness, no doubt.
You start.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll go first. All right, sure. Yeah, so we're going out there. Shot Quality Bets team is going out. I'm flying out tomorrow night, staying a couple of different places. I got like a nice Airbnb so we can just have like a house to shoot content out of, but I also got a room on the Strip. So I'll be back and forth doing a lot of stuff. It should be a good time. We'll be shooting our live betting show from Vegas on both Thursday and Friday. So that'll be a lot of fun. Definitely tune in. It'll be on Twitter streaming. So just make sure you follow me on Twitter or follow Shot Quality Bets on Twitter. Either will be an easy option. Doing a lot of fun stuff. We'll be hanging out with some of the crew over at Caesars, doing some VIP stuff. And then, yeah, you can just follow along. Everything at Shot Quality Bets are on my Twitter. The primer's out. We have a very cool custom bracket builder, our value bracket. And there's really some cool ways to get free access to Shot Quality Bets. We have a fun bankroll builder competition hosted by a good friend of the brand, and we're sponsoring it with like $2,500 worth of free memberships and like $500 cash prizes, free entry. So yeah, highly recommend it. See if you're the best bettor. It's not just bracket selection. It's really like you can go all in, you can take money lines. It's who can actually build the biggest bankroll throughout March and who can be the biggest bettor. And I think you're going to win $250 and like something like another like, $1,000 in Shot Quality memberships if you can win. So yeah, check it out. We're doing some fun stuff and trying to revolutionize basketball data, building our NBA attack, building our WNBA attack, any type of fantasy. We're coming for DFS soon. I'm really excited to keep diving in and just bringing this data to more and more people. It's been really successful. I mean, it's probably one of the easiest jobs in the world. I get to talk about something that, when you really dive in and use it, people are like, wow, thank you for showing this to me. I'm not like trying to pull a rug over anyone's head. I was a fan before I worked here. I was talking about it on CBS and they were like, come talk about it for us. And here we are 2 years later. I'm living the dream, flying to Vegas, and Justin, we'll have to hang out, grab a beer or something.
Last place I saw you, was that Vegas or New York? I confused.
No, it was New York. I think the OTM hat that TJ has on is in my closet right now. So I think that was at the Tap House. I think that's where we were.
I am, we were the rooftop with Ja Rule doing something.
Yeah, man. That was House of First. Yeah, that was fun.
I'm switching up my Vegas thing. So back when I was younger, from the ages like 21 to 26, we did opening weekend of March Madness every year. We always did Caesars, middle of the Strip. We would do go to like Hoops and Hops at Cosmo, or do Caesars would always have. Well, back in the day, you could just show up early and you could get seats, but now they just kind of changed everything. But for the first time, I'm going to Fremont Street. So we're doing Circa. We're going downtown. We're going to do Circa Stadium. We're going to do the Circa Sportsbook. I've been to like downtown Vegas, Fremont Street and such. And it's always like a cool thing, but I've never stayed there before. I've never been to Circa before. Everyone says like, this is the new like thing to do. So you lose the downside. You lose like the walk in the Strip and gaining that. I think Saturday we'll probably do that because for, Thursday, Friday,
it's a 15-minute cat. It's like a $12 Uber, 15-minute Uber to the other side. I when I was there last year, I was doing it back and forth like every day because we were staying over at the Paris, and they have the VSiN studio in Circa, so I'll actually be over there a decent amount. I think I'll be doing some in-studio content with the VSiN team, hanging out with Greg Peterson and the gang and Tim Murray and JVT. So no, it's Circa's. You'll never want to leave, man. The only, especially coming from Florida,
incredible.
Especially coming from Florida, where you are, the New Yorker and me, I have like access to like 20 books, a million outs. So like going to Vegas, where that kind of goes away, has a slight disadvantage. But everyone else, man, it's so great. Especially if the pool's open. Woo! It's gonna be fun.
Circa Stadium's in play. They're like $60 for the day.
Nice.
Or probably like 500 or so food and bev min if you want to get the nicer stuff. But I'm pumped. Should be fun. I'm doing it with the brother-in-laws. They're both UF grads, so they will be big loss by losing the center in that SEC final game. But we're doing the Calcutta tonight. I'm basically been told I need to bid whatever to get Florida. So vibes.
Walter Clayton, man. If there's anyone who could rise up over it, it is that Iona transfer, who I'm so mad he didn't come with Patino to St. John's. That was such a big loss when I heard he wasn't coming back and he was going home because he's from Florida, right? So like went back home and is just a the dude factor is off the charts with him. I love him. He's going to be a fun player to watch in March Madness. So maybe some props, maybe a points card from TOC here for Florida. I don't know. I'm going to go make a few purchases, load up on some gold. I think I see some attractive listings in the marketplace. Maybe some people not fully understanding what they're selling.
Love it. Love it.
Love it. Love it. All right. Hashtag madness for the giveaway. Remember, this is for the UConn assist. Big cornerstone for your lineups. Going to give it just another moment here, and then we're going to go ahead, say farewell to Justin and send them off to Vegas. Hopefully they make it back. You never know when you head out there. Sometimes you may just never.
That's not the worst fate. That's not the worst fate.
All right. Good luck, everybody. And the winner is.
I'm in there. I'm on there. I haven't seen myself yet.
Chris
obviously
Brookhart. Nice.
Congrats.
Jolly Joker there. You got the USA basketball jersey, baseball helmet. Congratulations, Chris. Hit us up in the Discord. We will make sure that we transfer that UConn card on over to you. Justin, thanks for joining us. This was fantastic segment. Lots of great info. Appreciate it. Enjoy your trip out in Vegas. We'll be checking out your content and everything that you guys got going on there. Check out Justin on Twitter. Check out Shot Quality Bets. And good luck in the brackets.
Yeah, man. Right. You too. Enjoy your March. Thanks for having me, and hopefully we'll chat again soon. If I win that crown in this tournament, I'll come and flex. But we'll see how it goes.
Justin, we're gonna need a group chat going. You're gonna be telling me what I
shoot me text.
Race to 15s.
For sure. No, I'll get you set up right. Hit me up for real. I'll get you the primer for sure. I hope you guys have a good March. And again, thanks for having me.
Later, guys.
Sir. See you guys. Awesome. Thanks to both of the Justins. Great segment there. Oh, here's Chris in chat. Chris, congrats on your giveaway. Heck of a show right there. Just tons of knowledge from the Justins. Great top shot and floaty talk with Mike Levy and Tandy. And we're going to call it for this afternoon. We were going to have Coop on, but I think maybe Coop got a little intimidated by all the knowledge and all the numbers being dropped from the Justin. So we decided that we're going to end on that note because I think that segment was fantastic, super knowledgeable. We are going to be back Thursday morning at 10 a.m. We got Coffee with Coop prior to tip-off. Going to be live on this channel, again, starting 10 a.m. Eastern time, Thursday morning, live all the way up until tip-off, which I believe starts at 12:15. Yeah, Coop says, wait till you see his bracket. He'll be breaking all of that down for you on Thursday morning, 10 a.m. I'll also be back tomorrow afternoon for the weekly Top Shot show at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Remember, head on over otmnft.com/TOC/packs. Pick up your free starter pack today. Go ahead and make your first pack purchase to get access to our exclusive bracket pool on ESPN. And I think that covers it. Thanks for joining. Thanks to all of our lovely guests. Good luck to everybody in your brackets, in your madness contests. See you in Discord in the meantime, and then see you tomorrow afternoon and Thursday morning for some more live streams. Peace.